You're watching WAFF 48 News on your side. This is breaking news.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jonathan Skinner in for Gina today. A man on death row for killing a NASA retiree back in 2016 will get a new trial. Now, this afternoon, the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals reversing Warren Hardy's capital murder conviction and death sentence. That capital murder charge was reversed over an error by the judge during jury instructions. Hardy's case on the charge of capital murder during the robbery of Kathleen Lundy is being sent back for a new trial. Now, Hardy was in the middle of a crime spree when Lundy was killed. His convictions for kidnapping, domestic violence, and shooting into an occupied vehicle were affirmed in today's ruling. On more breaking news, DOJ officials say a key suspect in the 2012 attack on the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi is in federal custody. 4 Americans died in that attack. Attorney General Pam Bondi says Zubair al-Bakush landed at Joint Base Andrews early this morning. Now, al-Bakush faces charges on a number of crimes, including the murders of Ambassador Chris Stevens and State Department employee Sean Smith. At a press conference today, Bondi said the arrest shows the DOJ's commitment for seeking justice for the attack.
We have never forgotten those heroes, and we have never stopped seeking justice for that crime against our nation.
If you kill an American citizen in an act of terrorism, we will hunt you down. We will bring you to justice, and you will face justice here in America, not in another court and not in any other proceeding around the world, but here. You killed our own, so we are going to take it to the streets to make sure you are held accountable.
A Libyan militant suspected of being a mastermind of the attacks was captured by U.S. Special Forces in 2014 and was brought to Washington for prosecution. He was convicted and is serving a prison sentence.
Something wonderful has been taking place through the morning hours. Temperatures have warmed up quickly. In fact, so warm right now that a few locations are already in the low 60s in the Shoals and Russellville. And if you're not at 60, you'll make a pretty good run at it this afternoon. 565, plenty of sunshine for everybody. A little breezy out there. The camera doing a little shimmy. Got some wind gusts up to about 20, 25. Those winds will be persistent out of the west or northwest and remain quite gusty with the warm temperatures this afternoon. So if you get in between breezes and you're in the sunshine, it will feel great. If you're in the shade and the wind picks up, it will feel a little cool. High temperatures right around 60. Chilly tonight. We'll drop back in the 30s, but looking ahead towards the weekend, if you like sunshine, it'll work out for you, but it'll be a little cooler on Saturday with high temperatures in the 40s. And on Sunday, after a chilly start to the day, we'll take your temperatures in the afternoon all the way up into the mid to upper 50s. Sunday will be the warmer half of the weekend, but both days will feature plenty of sunshine. And I'll have much more in the weekend forecast and a look in your 10-day all coming up in just a moment. Jonathan?
All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, new at noon this week, a Crossville man pleaded guilty in the death of a 2-year-old. Now, new court records show Bradley Blanks entered a lesser plea of manslaughter. He'll spend 12 years in prison. Blanks was arrested last year on several charges, including murder, following a 2-year investigation into a fire at his home. Authorities say the fire started while Blanks was making drugs, and the child died of carbon monoxide poisoning before firefighters could reach him. Well, a woman who pleaded guilty to pushing a woman off a DeKalb County cliff has learned her fate. Loretta Carr was sentenced to life in prison. Carr pushed Mary Elizabeth Isbell off of a cliff to her death at Little River Canyon back in 2021. She received an additional sentence of 20 years for kidnapping Isbell. Carr's daughter, Jessie Kelly, also pled guilty in Isbell's murder last year. Well, a major development in a Morgan County capital murder double murder trial. Now, after days of deliberation, jurors say they can't come to a decision. Jurors sent a note to the judge saying they're at an impasse in the case against Kendall Rucker. The judge declared a mistrial. Now, Rucker is charged in the murders of David Galate and Sharonda Bolden back in 2018. Well, no ruling was made in the hearing of a former Alabama basketball player who was hoping to return to college basketball, or actually keep playing. Charles Bediaco's case has drawn national attention, of course, since he previously left the Tide to declare for the NBA draft. Now, he spent the past few seasons in the NBA G League, and we'll have more details, of course, in our evening newscast when a ruling comes down. Well, new developments in a Marshall County murder trial. Colt Carroll is accused of killing Felicia Thompson back in 2023. 48 crews in the courtroom say that jury members have been looking at autopsy photos this morning. Yesterday, jurors listened to a 45-minute interview where Carroll shared his side of the story. Now, he claimed Thompson injured herself outside of the Bucks Lounge in Guntersville. Carroll says the two were drinking right before this all happened. Now, he also says Thompson fell out of his truck along J.W. Darnell Avenue. Carroll admitted to kicking her body, but said he only did that to get her body back in the car after falling. Marshall County investigators say he beat her to death. Well, an update now on a story we first brought you new at noon yesterday. Madison County deputies arrested the woman they say stole from a storage unit. Crystal Fairchild is accused of breaking into the USA storage facility in Meridianville last week. Now, as you can see on your screen, this whole video, this whole incident was caught on camera. Now, they say that 2 storage units were burglarized. Another update now, an Albertville man who tried to have sex with a 15-year-old will spend the next 2 decades locked up. Edgar Castro Juarez was initially arrested after talking to someone who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. Well, he was actually talking to a Limestone County Sheriff's deputy. Castro Juarez was then charged with attempted human trafficking, and he eventually pled guilty to multiple sex crime charges. Well, new details now on the story we brought you at noon yesterday as well. A UAB police officer is now behind bars, accused of stealing a pickup truck. Johnny Fowler is accused of stealing that truck from Montgomery County last month. He was arrested in Jefferson County a few days later. And this comes after multiple reports of UAB police officers potentially using law enforcement databases to steal cars and scrap them for parts. Former Birmingham Police Chief A.C. Roper says UAB handled this situation the right way, and Fowler is on leave.
It's very rare, but occasionally there are allegations of misuse, and what's important there is the proper response, that it's investigated, that if it's a training issue or a policy issue or a supervision issue, that department takes the appropriate steps to resolve it.
Now, Fowler is charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and theft of property. Well, families of deceased Alabama inmates are accusing officials of illegally harvesting their loved ones' organs. A group rallied in Montgomery yesterday and is suing UAB leaders and officials with the Alabama Department of Corrections. They claim those with UAB removed organs from the people who died while in custody without the family's permission. Now, those families say some of the organs were returned, but not all.
I got the results of the second autopsy that I had paid for, and they said it was inconclusive because they couldn't give a cause of death because he was missing his heart. His heart was not in the organ bag.
Now, the state Supreme Court threw out most of the claims in one lawsuit against UAB last week, saying the statute of limitations had expired. Well, the 25th Olympic Winter Games are officially underway, but it's already been a rough start for Team USA's alpine ski racer, of course, Lindsey Vonn. She wiped out in a downhill race, rupturing her ACL just 1 week ago. Still, Vonn says she will compete in her 5th Games. Mandy Gaither talks to a volunteer physician for Team USA about how Olympians push through injuries.
For many athletes, it could be a season-ending injury, but 3-time Olympic medalist Lindsey Vonn posted on social media this week that she's not giving up, preparing for her 5th Games, despite recently rupturing her ACL, an important knee ligament.
Whether it's running or jumping or skiing, it's very important for maintaining stability of the whole lower extremity, particularly of the knee.
Dr. Timothy Miller with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is also a volunteer physician for Team USA. He says athletes tend to have a higher pain tolerance and typically have stronger lower bodies from the hips down to the feet, and that's a key role in maintaining stability when there's an ACL tear. He says an athlete with this injury will have to rely on strength and skill.
Meaning strength of your quadriceps muscles, strength of your hamstring muscles, strength of your hip abductor muscles, and your hip external rotators. All those work in concert with each other to maintain that stability when that ligament has been damaged.
Miller says a brace can be used to add stability, but that doesn't make up for not having a functional ACL. He says an injured athlete's mental game can also be impacted.
Certainly can affect your ability to feel confident, particularly with high velocity sports or cutting sports.
But with elite athletes like Vonn, Miller says skills are developed over years of training, so they have strength, stability, and endurance to some extent to compensate for the injury. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And remember, WAFF 48 is your hub for all things Olympics, the Winter Games through February 22nd. Our new newscast will stream on our digital platforms until then. Well, the Career Tech Center in Lawrence County is expanding. We'll tell you what it means for your students there. And realtors in Alabama are optimistic about the state's housing market. We'll tell you what that could mean if you're looking to buy or sell a house. Well, welcome back. Lawrence County Career Technical Center is growing along with its enrollment. Leaders believe the extra space will allow twice the number of students to take part in programs there. Crews are wrapping up construction on that new building, which will be connected to the existing Career Tech Center. Programs like welding, industrial maintenance, and advanced manufacturing are all currently at capacity. Superintendent Dr. John Brett Smith says when the new facility is finished, they can accept 50 additional students. Dr. Smith says this project is an investment in the next generation and the future of Lawrence County.
I truly believe in career tech. I believe that if our county and our state and our country is going to move forward, that we have to have those that provide the infrastructure. And for so long, we thought that college and career were separate entities, and now, you know, there's a great belief, which is true, that they're not competing ideas. Somebody can do both and be very successful.
Now, he expects the project to be complete in time for the 2026-27 school year. But now is a great time to buy or sell a home, according to realtors across the state. Emma Ellis sat down with the Alabama Association of Realtors to find out why.
Things are looking good for Alabama heading into 2026, according to the Alabama Association of Realtors. Housing market and sales prices increased across Alabama during 2025.
We're up 4% year over year, which is great improvement over last year. We're really excited about where things are going.
Home sales increased by nearly 4% over the prior year, and the median sales price reached the highest on record in Alabama history. Alabama is now ranked as the 9th most moved to state in the country, and more people moving into the state means more house sales.
And when you look at a state that's growing like Alabama, home values are going to go up, property values in general. So it's a positive. If you own property in Alabama, you're in a really, really good position.
But the Alabama Association of Realtors says it's not just good news for sellers. They say we're in a very balanced market.
And sometimes you hear the terms of a seller's market or a buyer's market, and really when the market conditions don't favor either of those. It's very balanced. If you're in the market to buy, the great opportunities for you to purchase homes, a lot of active listings. You know, people want choice, and so the more choices you have, the better.
Now, your 48 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist Jeff Denoyer.
Maybe you're in the market to buy a home and you're thinking about maybe taking a tour at an open house this weekend, right? Well, the weather's going to cooperate after 2 weekends that were really difficult to get outside with a winter storm and then brutally cold temperatures with the blizzard we had last Saturday and Sunday. It'll get better this weekend, brighter, but we're going to take a little dip in the temperature Saturday after a pretty mild day today. Then it gets warmer on Sunday. And then for those of you who are longing for that spring-like feel a little early, it gets really warm next week with a few days that could actually make it to 70 degrees. The trade-off is when we have some of the warmest days, it may also come with a little cloud cover and some rainfall, but it is a warmer pattern for the next 10 days. So current temperatures right now, speaking of warm, we already got some low 60s in the Shoals and Russellville right now. Temperatures just taking off after a very cold start this morning. Elsewhere, we're in the 50s, and everybody will have a fair chance to get to 60 today. It is a little breezy, but at least it's sunny, and it feels pretty good outside. Just poked my head outside, and I thought it was all right. Guntersville, I imagine the wind kicking up on the lake, though. If you're out there at Center Harbor, you're walking around right now on that boardwalk, I'm sure that wind's in your face a bit, making it feel a little cooler, but at least it's bright and sunny. Got a little cloud cover off to our north and east. That's some precipitation moving through the Carolinas and West Virginia. That's going to stay to our north and east. But what will happen tonight is some of this cloud cover will clip the area and we'll go from a clear sky to a mostly cloudy sky. And it's part of a frontal boundary that's going to drop the temperature on Saturday. That's why we have that dip for your Saturday temperature. So next 8 hours, a lot of sunshine. If you're going out this evening, looks good. Temperatures will fall from 60 to 40s and not so cold overnight. We're in the low to mid 30s, a little chilly, cloudy, overall not bad. But then tomorrow is when the temperatures are real slow to warm, and we only get to the mid 40s tomorrow. And there'll be a north wind about 10 miles an hour, making it feel just a bit cooler. So hour by hour forecast, you can see the clear skies that we have give way to some clouds tonight. When we're on air together tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., temperatures will be in the low to mid 30s, and we'll be tracking a few clouds. By the time we get to the afternoon Saturday, it gets brighter and brighter throughout the day, but temperatures will only hover in the mid 40s. It will not be nearly as warm as it is out there now. We'll change the pattern on Sunday. Looks good. Really warm Monday, Tuesday, but there comes that rain opportunity Tuesday night into Wednesday. It does not look like severe weather at this time, just cloudy with rain. And then after a dry Thursday, we'll track a little bit more rain for Friday. It looks like some of that rain may linger into your Valentine's Day plans for the following weekend. Jonathan.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, it's Super Bowl weekend, and we'll break down everything you need to know before the big game on Sunday. legendary boxer Muhammad Ali broke many social and racial barriers over his career as a heavyweight champion, and it especially touched the Huntsville woman who would go on to break barriers of her own. Nick Bellinger has her amazing story to start our Black History Month series.
Jean Dancy spent her childhood in her West Huntsville home just like many kids would in the 1960s, watching the legendary Muhammad Ali.
I saw Muhammad Ali on TV, and I was totally fascinated.
That fascination quickly turned into a dream.
The fact that he said he was going to do something, and it happened exactly as he said it. I was so fascinated that I asked my mother if she thought I could meet him.
The former Council High student and Butler High School graduate would go on to be an Alabama A&M Bulldog. She used that degree to land a job at The Tonight Show on NBC, which eventually led to her meeting Ali. But the once English major didn't stop there.
I'm in love with boxing, and I meet a man who becomes my husband, and he's a heavyweight boxer.
After marrying the one-time number 4 heavyweight in the world, Marty Monroe, Dancy decided, just like Ali, she wanted to break barriers of her own. She became one of the only female boxing managers in the country.
The biggest challenge truly was that I was a woman. I think they would look at me and assume since she was a model, she doesn't know very much. And I understood the fact that they could not comprehend a woman knowing as much as I knew.
Jabs, hooks, punch after punch, Dancy refused to be knocked down just because of what she looked like.
I knew all of their records, when they'd been knocked out, knocked down, if they trained on time. I knew everything that you could possibly know about them.
Eventually, that childhood hero in Ali would become a friend.
Muhammad Ali, Marty, and I, we all became friends. I was at Muhammad's house having dinner, mind you. And then Muhammad asked me to be a part of his Deer Lake boxing camp. When men were treating me in the crummiest way, Muhammad wasn't. He believed in himself. He believed in all of his dreams.
In the same way that little girl from Huntsville adored Ali for doing exactly what he predicted, so did Dancy.
If it's whatever you want to do, believe it, and believe it every day.
Also, now Dancy and her husband had one child before he passed nearly 30 years ago. She now lives with her family in Nevada. Dancy is also promoting her new book titled Muhammad Ali and Me. You can look out for more WAFF 48 Black History pieces that will air during our 4 o'clock newscast throughout the month. Well, switching gears now, we're just a couple of days away from the big game, of course, the Super Bowl. You can watch the Seahawks and the Patriots face off right here in Super Bowl 60 on WAFF 48. Now, kickoff is scheduled for 5:30. Pre-game coverage will start at noon. Now, we will not be streaming our 5 p.m. newscast, and our regular 10 p.m. newscast will begin at 11. Now, if you're looking for a different way to spend your Super Bowl Sunday, we have an event that you might want to check out. Notorious DOG, Notorious Dog Rescue, is hosting a Puppy Bowl celebration at the Rocket City Dog Bar in Huntsville. Now, the adoption event kicks off at 3 o'clock. And if you're planning to skip out on work this upcoming Monday, you're not alone. A record number of people are planning to miss work on the day after the Super Bowl. Workforce platform UKG estimates that more than 26 million people will not be coming in. If that happens, this will beat last year's record by about 4 million.
Final forecast, if you plan on taking that Monday off after the Super Bowl, whether you've had a really good night or maybe your favorite team loses, weather looks like it's going to be pretty good. But we got to get there first, and that's this afternoon around 60 degrees, a little breezy. Tonight, chilly will drop you back in the low to mid 30s. Winds will stay gusty. A lot of cloud cover builds in, but then it moves out. Brighter skies on Saturday, looks good on Sunday. Chilly nights. Cooler Saturday, but warms up to the 50s on Sunday. So with NBC covering the Super Bowl, if you want to have a little outdoor time, maybe a little patio time, you could probably do a little cookout before the game. You could tailgate at your own house in the backyard, save yourself some money, and have a good time with temperatures in the mid-50s. Of course, coverage begins at 11 a.m. And whether you're a Seahawks fan, Patriots fan, or not a fan of either team, let's hope for a really good game. We go to the 10-day forecast. There's that Monday day off. I talked about near 70, a little cloudy, but that's a good day to take off. And then some showers Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll track a few showers for the following week on Friday into Valentine's Day. But one thing you see there that's consistent is temperatures that are above average for the entire 10-day forecast.
Love to see that. And like you mentioned, there are good grilling forecasts for the Super Bowl Sunday. Do you have a favorite snack that you eat during the Super Bowl?
I'm doing a little queso dip.
Okay.
And I might make some nachos too, and maybe some street tacos. I'm going to eat.
Okay, I like
what
that.
What about you?
I'm more of a wings guy. So
wings.
Give me some lemon pepper wings. I'll be good to go, Jeff.
I'd be all about that too.
All right, thanks so much for tuning into the Fastcast. We'll see you later on today. Have a great one, guys.